That day lingers in my mind, an indelible mark etched into the fabric of my memory, in stark contrast to the familiar, monotonous days that had become my norm. A sudden shift shattered the stillness, leaving me grappling with the unknown. That morning, I awoke as I always did, the familiar ritual of brewing coffee grounding me in the moment. Yet, as I stood by this window, the world outside seemed to pulse with an unsettling energy, each passing figure a reminder of the uncertainty that lingered just beyond my reach. At 59, I found myself caught in a paradox, a lingering essence of youth that clung to my being, whispering doubts and stirring reflections within me. I could not bring myself to confront the undeniable truth of aging. I had devoted myself to self-care, committed to a routine of exercise, yet each time I gazed into the mirror, I struggled to recognize the vibrant and attractive person I once believed I was. Yet, that profound emptiness within me, nothing seemed capable of bridging the chasm. Jack, what are you hiding? What secrets linger in the shadows of your thoughts? The weight of uncertainty hangs heavy in the air, and every moment feels charged with unspoken tension. There was a delivery boy, and his name lingered in the air, Jack. Who was he really? What stories lay hidden beneath that simple name? Each encounter with him stirred an unsettling sensation within me, a feeling that lingered in the shadows of my mind. A warmth envelops me, yet there lingers an inexplicable pull, a tension that gnaws at the edges of my consciousness. He stood at the precipice of 23, a number that felt both heavy and fleeting, a moment suspended in time, teetering on the edge of what was and what could be. Perhaps it was the intoxicating spark of his youth that captivated me, leaving me to wonder about the depths of my own feelings. For what feels like an eternity now, I have found myself ensnared in a relentless cycle of online orders, each click echoing with a sense of urgency and uncertainty. Books, home decor, and an array of items that teeter on the edge of necessity, all for the fleeting thrill of the doorbell's chime and the sight of him poised in the doorway. I found myself caught in a whirlwind of conflicting emotions, each pulse of my heart echoing the tension within me as I grappled with the undeniable truth of my desires. That day, as I stepped inside, I caught a glimpse of Jack weaving through the neighborhood, delivering packages. He zoomed past me on his motorbike, leaving a swirl of uncertainty in his wake. In an instant, his tire lost grip, and he tumbled directly before my eyes. "Jack!" I shouted, my heart racing, the weight of uncertainty pressing down as I dropped my bag and sprinted toward him. His knee and elbow bore the marks of a harsh encounter, the rawness of the wounds mirrored in the anguish etched across his face. Yet, amidst the turmoil, he somehow conjured that warm smile, a flicker of light in the shadows. "Hannah, I assure you I am fine. It's nothing serious," he said, yet the slight tremor in his voice betrayed an unsettling uncertainty. "Don't be absurd," I insisted. "Don't even think of telling me you're fine. Step inside and allow me to examine what lies beneath the surface." I assisted him in hoisting his bike onto the curb, my hands steadying him as we made our way to my house, each step heavy with unspoken thoughts. He lingered in uncertainty, caught in the web of my relentless urging, leaving him with no escape from the inevitable. As we stepped through the threshold, a weight hung in the air, and I led him to the couch in my living room, each movement charged with unspoken tension. With trembling hands, I reached for the first aid kit, the weight of the moment pressing down on me as I began to clean his wounds, each movement laden with uncertainty. My hands shook uncontrollably, yet I fought to calm them, desperate for Jack to remain oblivious to the turmoil within me. As I toiled, an unsettling awareness crept over me, drawing my gaze to his youthful vigor, so striking in its proximity. Yet, beneath the surface, a certain maturity lingered in his expression, unsettling me in ways I couldn't quite grasp. "Forgive me for intruding upon your space, Hannah," he uttered, a smile flickering across his face. Yet, is it truly insignificant? The weight of the moment lingers, casting shadows of doubt and uncertainty. It gnawed at me, and I let out a scoff, attempting to project an air of authority, yet the smile I couldn't suppress betrayed my true feelings. "You stumble, pain lancing through you, and you truly believe I would abandon you in this moment? Hold it together, Jack." As I wrapped the bandages around his wounds, an unsettling silence enveloped the room, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. His gaze bore into me, and the atmosphere thickened with unspoken tension. As I placed the bandage on his arm, our hands grazed against each other, a fleeting connection that lingered in the air, heavy with unspoken words. The unintentional brush of our fingers deepened the heavy stillness that enveloped us. "Hannah," he started, his voice trembling with uncertainty. "Your kindness caught me completely off guard. It seems that for most, my presence is merely a fleeting moment, a brief interruption in their day, as they expect me to deliver their packages and vanish into the shadows." As I gazed at him, an unsettling change stirred within me, leaving me to wonder what it truly meant. "Jack, you are far more than merely a delivery guy. Your gaze upon others is striking, filled with a depth that stirs something within me. The thoughtfulness you exude is palpable, and I find myself questioning the very essence of my own existence. Being near you awakens a vitality in me that has long been dormant, leaving me to wonder if this feeling is fleeting or something more profound." I confessed, my voice quivering just enough to betray the turmoil within me, heat rising to my cheeks in a vivid rush. The words hung in the air, irrevocable and heavy, their weight pressing down with a suffocating intensity. Jack's expression shifted, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his features. In his eyes, a newfound determination flickered, intertwined with an unmistakable magnetism that left one questioning the depths of his resolve. He leaned in, inching closer, his eyes locked onto mine with an intensity that felt both electrifying and unsettling. As the narrative teeters on the brink of chaos, I urge you to subscribe to my channel and activate notifications, for the unfolding events may hold revelations you cannot afford to miss. Your support, expressed through comments and likes, carries a weight that is both profound and unsettling, leaving me to ponder its true significance. In that fleeting instant, Jack's gaze pierced through me, and an unspoken tension crackled in the space that separated us. This was merely the start of something far more complex. "Do you realize?" he murmured after a heavy pause. "The distance between the place I'm currently residing and my workplace is almost unfathomable. The daily journey, a relentless cycle, weighs heavily on the soul, each trip blurring the lines of purpose and fatigue. Thoughts swirl in my mind, a restless search for a place nearer, yet the daunting prices loom like shadows, casting doubt on every possibility." As those words escaped his lips, an unsettling sensation began to churn within me, igniting a tumult of emotions I couldn't quite grasp. A realization washed over me, a flicker of possibility igniting within. The notion of helping him stirred something deep, an unsettling thrill that both exhilarated and unnerved me. "Jack," I whispered, my voice steady yet laced with uncertainty. "I have a modest apartment just beside my house. It remains unclaimed, lingering in a state of uncertainty. Should you choose to, the opportunity to move in awaits you, and the price is surprisingly reasonable. But what does that truly mean for you? What lies beneath this offer, and what choices will you make in the shadows of uncertainty? It might just simplify your situation, but then again, who can say for certain?" Jack's gaze met mine, a flicker of astonishment crossing his features, leaving an unsettling silence in its wake. "Is that truly the case?" "Hannah, you needn't carry this burden of kindness," he murmured, a shadow of uncertainty flickering in his eyes. His voice, laced with disbelief, echoed in the air, yet my resolve had solidified long before this moment. In that fleeting instant, a heavy weight settled in my chest, a foreboding sense that the world as I knew it was on the brink of transformation, and indeed, it was. That day marked the beginning of a shift, a crack in the facade of my monotonous existence. The story lingered on the precipice of unfolding, teetering between what was known and what lay ahead. In that fleeting moment, the air thickened with an unspoken intensity, leaving us both teetering on the edge of uncertainty. As I tended to his wounds, my fingers brushed against his arm, lingering on his skin, a moment stretching into something unspoken, charged with uncertainty. For a fleeting instant, my gaze lingered on the expanse of his broad shoulders and the power of his strong arms, a silent tension hanging in the air between us. I felt his gaze upon me, scrutinizing, laden with unspoken thoughts. His gaze lingered, a slow, deliberate sweep over my legs, my waist, and my shoulders, each moment stretching into an eternity filled with unspoken tension. The fluttering within me intensified, an insistent reminder that I could not escape, no matter how fervently I sought to dismiss it. In that fleeting moment, I felt myself slipping away, as if the very essence of who I was began to dissolve into the shadows. My hands quivered, the final knot of the bandage tightening around uncertainty. In that moment, as I leaned to retrieve the discarded bandage, Jack mirrored my movement, and our fingers brushed once more, igniting a flicker of uncertainty between us. In that moment, time seemed to stand still, a heavy silence enveloping us as we remained motionless, caught in the uncertainty of what lay ahead. The jolt from that fleeting touch thickened the already oppressive silence that hung between us. As I gradually straightened, our gazes collided again, a moment suspended in uncertainty. As I gazed at his face, uncertainty gripped me, each fleeting moment stretching into an eternity, the meaning behind his expression eluding my grasp. His eyes flickered with uncertainty, yet beneath that veil lay an undeniable force, a magnetic pull that beckoned with an intensity that could not be ignored. "Hannah," he whispered, his voice a fragile echo, more tender than I had ever known it to be. "I must admit, your kindness has caught me off guard in ways I never anticipated. It seems that for most, my presence is merely a fleeting moment, a brief encounter where I am expected to deliver their packages and vanish into the shadows. They would never make the effort for someone like me, would they? In truth, I find myself questioning whether I am truly worthy of such profound care." Those words echoed in my mind, pulling me into a whirlwind of uncertainty, leaving me momentarily adrift in a sea of my own thoughts. As I gazed upon him, a profound complexity stirred within me, revealing an unexpected depth in this seemingly young man. I struggled to compose myself, a fragile laugh escaping my lips, barely masking the turmoil within. "Jack, should you ever feel the urge, the apartment awaits your presence. It feels as though I've been suspended in this moment, anticipating your move all along," I said, attempting to ease the palpable strain, if only slightly. Jack's expression deepened, a flicker of disbelief crossing his features, as if the very ground beneath him had shifted unexpectedly. "Is that truly the case? Hannah, I find myself in a position where urgency weighs heavily on my mind. My landlord is maneuvering to force me out. Moreover, I must complete my deliveries," he uttered, his tone edged with urgency. He sprang to his feet, a sudden urgency propelling him toward the exit, yet he hesitated, a fleeting moment of uncertainty hanging in the air as he reached for my number before disappearing through the door. In that fleeting instant, the air crackled with an intensity that felt almost unbearable. As I tended to his wounds, my hand hesitated against his skin, our eyes locking repeatedly, each moment stretching into something unspoken, charged with an unnameable tension. A tension was brewing between us, palpable and charged with uncertainty. A realization gripped me. This was merely the beginning of an undeniable force I could no longer evade. In that fleeting instant, as those words echoed in my mind, I felt myself unraveling, slipping away into a void of uncertainty. As I gazed at him, an unexpected depth and maturity flickered in his eyes, leaving me momentarily unsettled. I struggled to compose myself, the corners of my mouth twitching into a smile as a quiet laugh escaped, barely masking the turmoil within. "Jack, the door to the apartment next to my house stands open for you, whenever you choose to step through it. It feels as though I've been in this moment anticipating your grasp all along," I murmured, attempting to alleviate the weight of the silence just slightly. Jack's expression shifted, a flicker of disbelief crossing his face, leaving the air thick with uncertainty. "Is that truly the case? Hannah, I find myself in a situation where urgency weighs heavily on my mind. My landlord is attempting to evict me, and the weight of unfinished deliveries looms over me, his voice tinged with urgency. He rose abruptly, a flicker of urgency in his movements, yet paused just long enough to capture my number, leaving me to wonder about the implications of that fleeting connection. The following morning, I caught sight of Jack pulling up in a massive truck, flanked by two of his friends. their intentions shrouded in uncertainty. His belongings were being moved into the apartment, each item a silent witness to the unfolding uncertainty. As I stood by the window, my gaze fixated on him, struggling under the weight of those heavy boxes, his powerful arms straining with effort. Attention hung in the air, a silent question lingering in the depths of my mind. My gaze was locked, unable to break free from the haunting scene before me. A sensation awakened within me, a haunting echo of emotions long buried, resurfacing after years of silence. Each subtle shift he made captured my gaze, pulling me deeper into a whirlpool of uncertainty. His youthful energy, the vibrancy he bore, lingered in the air, a haunting reminder of what once was. It held an allure that was impossible to resist. After what felt like an eternity, I gathered my thoughts, filled a thermos with coffee, and approached them, each step heavy with uncertainty. Text. "You all must be exhausted," I said, forcing a smile that barely masked the uncertainty swirling within me. I find myself compelled to extend an invitation for dinner, a gesture laden with unspoken implications and the weight of uncertainty. Shall we gather around the table, the air thick with unspoken thoughts, as we partake in a meal that might hold more than just sustenance? The weight of the moment hangs heavy, inviting reflection and perhaps a hint of tension among us. Jack and his friends expressed their gratitude towards me, but the weight of their words lingered in the air, leaving me to ponder the true depth of their appreciation. Yet in that moment, Jack's voice trembled as he uttered, "Hannah, that's so kind of you." The weight of his words hung in the air, leaving an unsettling question lingering between them. Yet my friends must return now. The journey back feels interminable for them, fraught with uncertainty and unspoken thoughts lingering in the air. A flicker of disappointment coursed through me, yet I masked it with practiced ease. As dusk settled, Jack arrived, solitary and shrouded in uncertainty. As I caught sight of him standing there, a tumult of emotions surged within me, a blend of astonishment and a thrill that sent shivers down my spine. I offered him a smile, though uncertainty lingered in the air between us. "Where have your friends gone?" He shrugged, a fleeting grin flickering across his face, leaving me to wonder what lay beneath that brief moment of levity. They were compelled to depart, the weight of unspoken words hanging heavily in the air. They found themselves unable to remain, caught in a web of uncertainty and unspoken emotions. Yet the weight of his words hung in the air, a palpable tension between them. "I didn't want to leave you alone tonight," he confessed, the ambiguity of his intentions swirling like shadows in the dim light. The moment those words reached my ears, an unexpected warmth surged within me, leaving me to ponder their true meaning. As the evening unfolded, the air thickened with unspoken thoughts, and our dinner conversation took on a weighty significance. And in that fleeting moment, a realization washed over me. This was merely the inception of an uncertain journey ahead. To be honest, I confessed, a faint smile playing on my lips as I locked eyes with Jack, uncertainty swirling between us. Anticipation hung in the air, a weighty silence enveloping the space as I realized the absence of each one of you. Where were you? The question echoed in my mind, a haunting reminder of unfulfilled expectations. Yet in this solitary moment, I find myself contemplating the implications of uncorking a bottle of wine, as if the very act carries weight beyond mere indulgence. There's something about the ritual of wine with dinner that lingers in the air, a blend of flavors and unspoken thoughts, each sip a moment suspended in time, leaving one to wonder what lies beneath the surface of the evening. Jack returned the smile, but there was something in his gaze that held me captive, a tension hanging in the air between us. "That seems almost too good to be true, the interplay of wine and your culinary creations. What else remains for me to desire?" He spoke, and in that moment, his words flickered to life within me, a spark that both thrilled and unsettled. As I stepped into this kitchen, a bottle of red wine caught my eye, its deep hue promising secrets untold. I reached for 2 glasses, their fragile forms reflecting the dim light, and carried them to the table, each step heavy with unspoken thoughts. As I twisted the cap off the bottle, I felt the weight of Jack's gaze upon me, his eyes probing, as if he were unraveling the very essence of who I was. Yet an unsettling awareness gripped me, as if his eyes were tracing the contours of my every action, lingering in the shadows of my thoughts. As the evening unfolded, the wine flowed and our dialogue took on a deeper, more intimate hue, revealing layers we had yet to explore. Loneliness, I murmured, the wine swirling in my glass, a bitter companion to my thoughts. At times, the weight of it all feels nearly insurmountable. It has the power to unravel your mind. It seems as though the majority of my existence has been dedicated to fulfilling the desires of those around me. And now, in this moment of clarity, I confront the haunting truth of all the time I've let slip away. Jack's gaze was fixed, a storm of thoughts swirling behind his calm facade as he absorbed every word, the weight of unspoken emotions hanging in the air. Loneliness weaves its intricate web, ensnaring hearts regardless of the passage of years. Yet here you are, Hannah, your home, your cooking, the very fabric of your attire. Each detail whispers of the care and effort you pour into them, leaving me to wonder what lies beneath the surface of such apparent perfection. Your beauty remains a haunting enigma, a delicate facade that conceals the turmoil within. It seems so unjust that a person like you must endure the solitude of your existence. Those words struck me unexpectedly, igniting a flicker of warmth in the depths of my being. It felt like an eternity since someone had addressed me in such a way, leaving me to ponder the weight of those words. My heart raced, a storm of uncertainty swirling within me as I gazed into his eyes, searching for answers that eluded me. As I grappled with the weight of this connection we were forging, a sensation long buried began to stir within me, echoing memories I thought had faded into oblivion. Those words struck me with an unexpected force, leaving me in a whirlwind of emotions. It had been years since anyone had uttered words like that to me, leaving a lingering echo in the silence that followed. My heart began to race, each beat echoing the uncertainty that loomed ahead. I grasped the essence of your words, I murmured, a weight hanging in the air. Yet, there are moments when, despite your relentless efforts, it feels as if you exist in the shadows, unseen and unheard. Jack placed his wineglass on the table with a deliberate slowness, leaning in closer, the air thick with unspoken words. His deep, focused gaze pierced through the air, heavy with unspoken thoughts, leaving me to wonder what lay beneath the surface of his intent. "You're wrong," he said, his voice a whisper, heavy with conviction. "One cannot help but feel your presence, an undeniable force that lingers in the air, stirring thoughts and emotions that are both unsettling and captivating." Those words ignited a tumultuous storm within me. The alcohol's warmth enveloped me, yet within, my heart and mind clashed in a tumultuous battle, each vying for dominance in the shadows of my thoughts. His gaze lingered on me, a silent weight that seemed to stretch the air between us. The intensity of his gaze, so focused and unwavering, sent a shiver down my spine, awakening a long dormant excitement within me, stirring emotions I had almost forgotten. "Jack, you're incredibly kind," I uttered, a faint smile playing on my lips, yet my voice quivered with uncertainty. I intertwined my fingers tightly in my lap, yet his gaze held me captive, drawing me in with an intensity I couldn't escape. In that moment, the distance that separated us seemed to shrink, as if the air itself conspired to draw us closer, blurring the lines of reality and perception. "I must confess something," he declared abruptly, his voice taking on a heavier timbre. Upon my arrival, I found myself yearning for a new beginning, yet uncertainty loomed over my intentions. Yet, with each conversation we've shared, an unsettling desire to delve deeper into your essence has taken root within me. Something has shifted within you, Hannah. It feels as though you bear a flicker, a presence that pulses with vitality. His words hung in the air, a heavy silence enveloping me, leaving me reeling in disbelief. The wine swirled in my glass, the atmosphere thick with unspoken words, and his gaze pierced through me, overwhelming my senses in a sudden, dizzying rush. I inhaled deeply, yet the frantic beating of my heart rendered any semblance of calm utterly unattainable. "Jack," I said, my gaze piercing into his, "this night has become something extraordinary because of you. It's been ages since someone stirred these emotions within me, leaving me to question everything I thought I knew." In that fleeting instant, the air thickened with an unspoken weight, a palpable strain hanging between us, as if the very fabric of our connection was on the brink of unraveling. In that fleeting moment when Jack's gaze locked onto mine, time itself seemed to hold its breath, suspended in an uncertain stillness. In a heartbeat, swept away by an inexplicable force, I found myself leaning in closer to him, the air thick with unspoken possibilities. As our lips collided, an overwhelming surge coursed through me, my heart threatening to escape the confines of my chest. His kiss stirred emotions within me, long buried and hidden in the shadows of my heart, threatening to unravel everything I thought I had controlled. But then, reality crashed over me, relentless and overwhelming. I abruptly withdrew, heat rising to my cheeks, as a tempest of thoughts spiraled within me, each one more disorienting than the last. This feels all wrong," I whispered, my eyes averted as I made my way to the kitchen, desperate to flee the tempest brewing within. It was only when I sensed the unexpected grip on my waist that the chilling truth struck me. Jack had been trailing me all along, lurking in the shadows of my awareness. His warmth, his closeness, held me captive, leaving me suspended in uncertainty. "Hannah," he murmured, his voice a haunting whisper, laced with an urgency that hung in the air between them. He slowly pivoted me to confront him, our gazes intertwining in a charged moment before his lips met mine once more. In this moment, it feels as though the depths are calling, pulling me into an intensity that is both exhilarating and unsettling. Air felt like a distant memory, slipping through my grasp, leaving me in a suffocating silence. Escape was a distant illusion, a mirage fading into the shadows of inevitability. My hands, trembling with uncertainty, found their way to his shoulders, a silent plea hanging in the air between us. As his powerful embrace enveloped me, an unsettling realization washed over me. Were we truly alone in this moment? Or was there an unseen world watching, waiting, judging? Jack pulled away from the kiss, his gaze piercing into mine, lingering with unspoken questions and a weight that hung heavily between us. "Hannah, is this truly what you desire?" he whispered, the sound barely escaping his lips, laden with unspoken thoughts and a weight that hung in the air, thick with uncertainty. The intensity and depth of his voice pierced through me, leaving me vulnerable and exposed. I nodded, a subtle movement, my voice trembling on the edge of silence. "Indeed." As his hand brushed against my back, a shiver ran through me, and I felt an unsettling mix of anticipation and uncertainty as he led me slowly upstairs to the bedroom. My heart raced, each beat echoing in the silence, a frantic reminder of the uncertainty that loomed ahead. With each step, a tightening knot of anticipation coiled within me, leaving me to wonder what lay ahead. As I crossed the threshold into the room, I perched on the edge of the bed, while Jack lingered before me, a heavy silence hanging in the air. His eyes swept across me, a palpable intensity igniting the air between us. With a hesitant motion, I lifted my hands to my shoulders, the delicate straps of my dress inching downwards, each movement laden with unspoken tension. The fabric slipped over my skin, a whisper of tension as it tugged at my feet, leaving me in a moment of uncertainty. The intensity of Jack's gaze, filled with admiration and longing, deepened the magnetic pull I couldn't resist. This moment unfolded before me, a reality I had not allowed myself to envision for what felt like an eternity. All that remained was the haunting decision to yield entirely to the enigmatic currents of the night. As I prepared to lie down on the bed, a fleeting reflection of my body caught my eye in the distant mirror, stirring a tumult of thoughts within me. I appeared both sophisticated and captivating, yet there lingered an uncertainty beneath the surface. In that fleeting instant, Jack's hands found their way to my shoulders, a subtle pressure urging me to surrender to the bed beneath me. As he loomed above me, his gaze piercing through the air, his hands lingered on my waist, a slow, deliberate movement that sent shivers down my spine. In that fleeting moment, an unfamiliar sensation washed over me, one I had longed for, yet had been absent from my life for what felt like an eternity. In that fleeting moment, I found myself reacting almost instinctively, releasing a sound that echoed my own astonishment. My hands hovered in uncertainty, caught in a moment where clarity eluded me. It felt as if the weight of my emotions was too much to bear, slipping through my fingers like sand, leaving me in a state of confusion and unrest. Beauty enveloped me, a haunting reminder of what I had longed for. Yet it felt like a fragile illusion slipping through my fingers. The emotions coursing through me felt like a tempest, each wave crashing against the fragile walls of my composure. Overwhelmed by the sheer intensity, I shut my eyes, surrendering to the swirling chaos of the moment, unsure of what lay beneath the surface. As I opened my eyes to gaze at Jack, a rush of uncertainty washed over me. He appeared flushed, breathless, caught in a moment that felt both fleeting and heavy with unspoken tension. That sight sent a shiver down my spine, igniting a tumult of emotions within me. My voice barely escaped my lips, a desperate plea lingering in the air, yearning for that moment to return once more. Jack, breathless and on edge, responded, "I desire it more than you ever could." On that fateful day, he stirred emotions within me that I hadn't felt in what seemed like an eternity, a fleeting glimpse of joy amidst the shadows of uncertainty. He appeared so relaxed, sprawled next to me, his breaths gradually finding a rhythm, yet a storm brewed beneath the surface. As I cast my gaze downward, the disarray of clothes strewn across the floor beside the bed caught my eye, and a fleeting smile crept onto my lips, though I couldn't shake the feeling that something deeper lingered in the air. How long had it been since I felt this way? The weight of longing pressed heavily on my chest, an ache that seemed to stretch into eternity. I couldn't shake the feeling that something vital was slipping through my fingers, elusive and haunting. Jack's breath, warm yet unsettling, lingered against my neck as we lay side by side, the silence thick with unspoken thoughts. The stillness enveloped us, punctuated solely by the rhythm of our breaths, each inhale and exhale heavy with unspoken words. In the aftermath of the chaos, an unsettling calm enveloped the air, but deep within, a restless thrill continued to pulse, refusing to be silenced. As I turned to face him, a whirlwind of thoughts spiraled within me, each one more uncertain than the last. "Hannah," Jack said, his gaze locking onto mine, a weighty silence enveloping us. "There's a longing within me, a desire to escape to a secluded beach town where it's just you and me, away from the chaos, yet tethered by the weight of unspoken words. What are your thoughts on this? Can you feel the weight of uncertainty hanging in the air? It's as if the answer is just out of reach, lingering in the shadows of our minds." That suggestion ignited a tumultuous surge within me, a thrill that had long been absent from my life, leaving me to wonder what it truly meant. "A vacation? That sounds incredible," I managed to say, a smile flickering across my face, though uncertainty lingered in the air. "But I can't shake the feeling that this trip will be anything but ordinary," I added, my gaze lingering on the flicker of excitement in his eyes. Jack's laughter hung in the air, a soft sound that barely masked the tension between us as he reached out, his fingers lingering just a moment too long while brushing my hair back from my face. "No, Hannah, this is merely the start," he declared, his voice heavy with unspoken implications. In that fleeting moment, an unspoken realization settled between us, heavy with the weight of what this vacation truly meant. It was far more than mere escape. It could mark the beginning of an uncertain journey, one that might deepen the connection we share, yet leaves me questioning what lies ahead. This tale lingers, its conclusion shrouded in uncertainty. The events of that vacation linger in the shadows, their true nature still shrouded in uncertainty, waiting to unfold in ways unforeseen. Remain alert, for the unfolding events may hold unexpected twists. If you find yourself here, it's clear that my tale has resonated with you in ways that are hard to articulate. There's an overwhelming depth to explore, and the fear of missing even a single moment looms large. Remember to press the follow button, activate notifications, and share your thoughts on this unfolding tale.